what's going on? It's Twintuitive717. I'm back with another video. I wanted to thank you guys for hanging with me on the channel. As always, it's a safe place for you to be to express yourselves about your twin flame journey. So with that being said, I'll just dive right into this reading here because I've been picking up on a lot of heavy energy coming from the feminine side, and what it feels like is just this complete disgust with the journey, and I don't know how to put it in any other way. So she's clearly in her Queen of Swords energy right now, which is completely walking away from the connection, and it's really hurting her to do that right now because it kind of feels like she's not really getting anywhere. And what I want many of the feminines to know is that when you're feeling this kind of heavy energy and it starts getting you frustrated, you start feeling anxious, like you don't know what to do, be the Queen of Swords and cut it off because that's what the clear message is. If you look at the pins inside of the heart, the Queen of Swords energy in this deck, like she's able to take actions even though she knows it's going to be painful or uncomfortable in some way. She knows that protecting herself, her integrity, her self-worth, her mental health is more important than trying to take care of somebody else's needs or desires. So the Nine of Winter comes in from the Fairy deck as letting you know that sometimes we can think the worst case scenario when we think about walking away from our twin flame connection. But I want you guys to know there really is no end to the twin flame journey. It's a journey and a path that we are on. So it's never ending, okay? Everybody is right where they need to be. So this twin flame process is literally teaching you how to walk away from situations that do not align with you. And oftentimes our counterpart teaches us this message because of this magnetized attraction to them. It's almost like the reason it can sometimes feel so intense, it's because it's breaking our heart in two. But those are the times where you really have to choose yourself, even if it does hurt, even if the other person wants this or you so badly want this person. The one that matters in the situation and the one that needs taking care of is you. So I think in the last reading as well, I had mentioned if the connection seems very tumultuous or there seems like there's some kind of trauma or there's some kind of issue there that doesn't have a lot to do with you and you know that it's this person's work to do, you have to move forward and enjoy your life. Because when someone's drowning, they don't want you to get into the water with them because they're not certain as to whether or not they're going to be able to protect you. You might just end up drowning with them when they end up panicking in the water, okay? So the best way to help them is to stay on the riverside bank. That's the best way that you can support them. So I hope that makes sense for a lot of you, and I want you to shift your thoughts in this time. And there's so many thoughts happening in your mind about the twin flame journey that sometimes it can literally pull us away from our reality. Some of us get very foggy, we feel very sick. It's hard to focus on our daily tasks at hand. Even going to work sometimes is a challenge. I want you guys to realize that the human mind is capable of thinking of over 10,000 thoughts a day. Okay, sometimes it goes up to even 60,000 if you're suffering from an anxious mind. So you can imagine how much of those thoughts tend to go unnoticed or how we're living off autopilot. So I want you guys to connect with your intuition and trust yourselves here and hang on to a lot of the thoughts that you're thinking and really break them apart and ask yourself, am I thinking this out of fear? And am I allowing my ego to put me in a position to create fear? Or am I really feeling through this thought and thinking it through and making sense of it? So when we start doing this, we start valuing ourselves and we start learning to decipher between the ego and the true self. Okay, it's time for us to really embrace who we are and connect with the High Priestess energy, because many of you are feeling this need to take quiet time to walk away from the connection, to rethink a lot of what's going on here, a lot of the past, a lot of the present, and a lot of what's to come. And I want you to trust that you have the power to know exactly what you need to do, okay? Because when we carefully reflect on what it is that's going on within our mind, our heart, and our spirit, God will influence us, our higher selves, source, however you connect to something greater out there that is looking out for you and is wanting the highest good for you, is there for you to connect with. And I love the High Priestess energy because she's so confident in this knowing that she will be safe no matter what choices that she's making. Always make the choices in your twin flame journey that is in the most highest good for yourself, even if that means leaving your twin behind. Because again, there's no end to the connection. There are only cycles ending and transformation is waiting to occur, okay? So those are the messages for the feminine. I'll move over to what's going on with the masculines right now because they are becoming very anxious, very sexually frustrated. And I think that this comes from a place of feeling so angry and enraged that they cannot sustain long-lasting connections with the feminine. And the reason I feel that that's very frustrating for them is because it's making themselves ask a lot of question about their upbringing and how confident they can be in relationships. And I feel that the Chariot card comes up as a reminder for the masculines to really gain that confidence within themselves with the 7, because they have to dedicate themselves to the healing process and to what it is they feel, which is a strong connection to the feminine. And again, like I was mentioning, the bond that the two have, it keeps growing stronger. And the feminine keeps putting lessons in the masculine's path as he's doing to her as well. And this is making them both charge forward in a way where they're forcing themselves now to have things like self-discipline over their thoughts in order to move forward. Because I think many of us are starting to realize and be very careful with our thinking because we don't know where that thought is coming from, whether it's been programmed, whether this was imposed by someone else. So this is why it's really important for us to connect with our own truth. And through this process, we start feeling exactly why it is we're so magnetized to our twin in the first place, right? Once we can get out of the fear about having some sort of expectation or some set outcome based on programming about relationships, if we can let go of that, then we get into that magical place again of the twin flame journey. The Sun card represents sending happy images to your partner in order to manifest it. It's hard to be in that place of manifesting happy images when you're pushing for some type of validation on the connection. Now it's time to connect with your intuition, feminines, because I really strongly feel that the masculines are sending a sign that they are becoming dedicated to this connection. And you want it to be their choice. You want the efforts towards this connection to be coming from their realizations, from digging deep and going within. Right now, the 7 of Pentacles comes up because the masculines are realizing that trying to distract themselves with sex with other partners, it's becoming very exhausting. And they have to give their counterpart this energy rather than exerting it and exhausting it through other people, because what that's doing is it's adding on a lot more junk for clearing, and they're starting to see that and realize it. Many of the masculines are using drugs, they're drinking, they are numbing themselves with overeating, they are watching pornography, anything that distracts them from thinking about the feminine and the twin flame connection in a loving way is not welcomed at this time. And I feel that this is what they need to break away from in order to see that they're deserving of true, genuine love. For a long time, the types of sexual encounters that they've attracted, it mirrors back right to them all of the ugliness that they see and feel about themselves, because, you know, as easy as they were able to get themselves into that connection to fulfill the act of sex, it's like they're starting to see that mirror image of connecting with someone who's just as damaged. Do you guys know what I mean? So it's like not a good feeling. It's like how the feminines were feeling disgusted by the connection. It's like the masculines are feeling really disgusted with themselves at having these kinds of cycles continue on and on and on, and it's just taking from their vitality, and it's completely draining. I see him moving into the night energy. because he wants to offer her communication, but he's treading very lightly. He knows that the feminine is in a place now where she's protecting herself. She's understanding and realizing her self-worth. She's spending time mingling her energy in the places that it feels very fulfilled, and it's making her feel at peace. And she's not having a lot of fears about what the masculine is doing or how long he's taking, because if you see how he's approaching her with the fruit and the way her hands are kind of open but not open with the two fingers closed, it's like he's contemplating this communication, but at the same time, it's the night energy because he's not sure as to how open she's going to be when he does come forward with communication. So, he's being asked to charge forward regardless and hope for the best. He's really going to start seeing his physical life take its toll on him, is what I'm getting. And it's making them isolate themselves more. And that's why the feminines are being guided to really step away from the connection, because it's like this whole chaotic world of his, he's got to pull out his sword and fight his demons, because what the feminine has done is she has shined a light on it. And, now it's up to him to really take that action with the night energy coming in. I hope this short reading finds you guys well. I will catch you in the next video. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't done so. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you guys for watching and being here. I'll talk to you soon.